Alrighty guys, here we go. Part 2, I guess you can call this. Still the same day as the last video on the channel. So Ferries McDonald. We're out looking at the bunny orchids. It was only half an hour ago in real time. And we've just moved out here to Monarto. Monarto Conservation Park, that is. And I'm just going to walk the boundary trail today. So the last couple of times been out here, filming for midge orchids. We've done the trail that runs around the interior of the park. Today we're just going to walk this boundary trail and see what we see. I've never done it before. So this video might be a real quick one if we don't actually see anything. You know, I would expect to see some midge orchids. Honestly, they should be in pretty much full flower now, despite how dry it is. And potentially we'll see the Aerocalyptus species that we saw in the last video as well. Although I'm not sure if they're actually present in this park or not, even though we're only a stone's throw from Ferries McDonald. It's a bit like that out here. The various environments are very fragmented, and it kind of leads to slightly different species in each sort of area. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to go for a walk. This is a much longer walk than what the interior trail is. I think it's most likely going to be a like in and out trail down and back. But I'll see what it looks like down on the south boundary fence when we get there. I might be able to work my way back along that and then back along the walking trail. We'll see. Alright, so it looks like we've got some revegetation going on the right hand side here. I'm sure that's going to turn to farmland fairly soon. Yeah, I'll put you down and I'll bring you back in if we see something. Alright, so we can see that revegetation area on the right hand side has already disappeared and we're back to open like grazing country out there now. A few clouds around. The temperature's actually dropped quite noticeably since I was at Ferries McDonald an hour or so ago. It's actually quite pleasant now. Still a few flies around, which is a pain, but it is what it is. This section of the park here at the moment is actually feeling a lot more like Ferries McDonald than Monarto Conservation Park. With the exception of like the occasional pine tree. Back to this broom brush stuff. Although it has to be said, it seems a lot greener here than what it was at Ferries McDonald. Yeah. Not had a whole lot to look at yet. Not seen any orchids anyway. Guess there's been a fire or perhaps a controlled burn here at some point. Alright. Carrying on. As I say, I'm actually not sure how productive it's going to be down here. This could just be a quick walk to see what it's like. You can see the open countryside out there. Go straight out there, that lump. It's Mount Barker, so that's where I live essentially. Obviously I don't live on the mountain itself, but in the township of the same name. Put you down for a bit and I'll keep wandering. So I do like these sandy areas, not necessarily because they throw up a heap of different animals or anything, but because you get to see a whole heap of tracks in the sand. I feel like these might actually be Mallee fowl tracks here. So we're looking at these ones. You get the 3 forward toes and the 1 backward toe. And they run along in a trail. There's obviously like kangaroo trails here, which are these ones going across towards the fence. You might see the tail on the ground. And these ones here too, I think, are Mallee fowl tracks. I've lost the sun now, but so these guys here, 3 forward toes and the 1 backwards. Potentially, anyway. You can see another set here, running the other way, going to and from the fence line. And I'm guessing they're all running across here because there is actually a hole under the fence, which makes for easier transgression through it by the various animals. So it comes out of the clearing over here, and all the trails kind of run to this point, go under the fence, and then out into the paddock. Why they necessarily want to be out in the paddock, I don't know, but that's what the tracks suggest anyway. But yeah, it's just interesting, these sandy areas showing that. It does actually look like we have some stock prints in here as well. So these larger, heavier ones look like they're made by some large hooved animal, or a very large human being, I guess. But do you have to watch where you're standing, obviously, because these meat ant nests are fairly regular. The minute you stop, if you're anywhere near them, they start running up your legs, and it's not great. I'm not expecting to see any orchids at all in this sort of terrain. Not at this time of year anyway. Maybe when it's a bit wetter, you'd get like the green combs and stuff popping up all through here. But this time of year, no, not really expecting too much. So I'm pretty sure we're basically following this fence line and the edge of the bush right down along here. So down around the corner that way and then back out, following the edge of the scrub there. So we've got a ways to go yet. You can see, obviously, farmers not real big on these little holes that animals make under the fences. Alright, carrying on, bring you back in. Alright, found a rock pile near the track. Can't help myself, and this is cool. This is a new species for me. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think it might actually be a legless lizard. Gonna grab a closer look at it anyway. Definitely a legless lizard. Where are we? There we go. Cool little guy. If he wants to hold still. Got some cool patterns on him. It's probably going to bite me in a minute. So I'm not sure what the species on. This is actually the first legless lizard I've encountered out here. Yeah. Love to get a look at your face, buddy. Sorry, the camera's... Cute little face on him. Definitely going to get some photos of this guy. See if we can identify what he is. Love a rock pile. They're fascinating. Always find some cool stuff in them. Alrighty, I'm just going to cut away for a moment. Alrighty, got some photos. Man, these flies are intense at the moment, now that I'm sitting still. Look at that face. Alright, let's get him back. Here we go, buddy. Oh, you made a sound. It's different. Move a lot like a snake. They obviously have a very different head than what a snake does, and pretty good at burrowing. Awesome little critter. Alright, so that already made coming out here worthwhile, even if I don't see any orchids. So that little guy was, I think, Aprasia striolata, a striated worm lizard. First time I've come across that species before. I have found legless lizards before out north, so out Wakefield River, Balaclava way. Oh, I can't even remember what they're called out there now. They're larger anyway. They look a lot like a small eastern brown snake, so I was a bit more hesitant to pick the one up out there, but that looked a whole lot more like a skink. You know, I would say it's pretty easy to tell the difference between a venomous snake, or like one of our elephants, and a skink. So certainly would not encourage anyone handling anything like that, anything snake-like, if you're not entirely sure, because that's just asking to get bitten, you know. Alright, so we actually haven't come that far yet, and I could hang around in these little rock gardens all day long flipping rocks, but I've only got about 3 hours until sunset, and I don't really want to be hanging around out here after dark. And to be honest, so far all I've found is that one legless lizard, and I did find a proper skink, but he was a bit quick for me to catch. A few legs can make all the difference sometimes. So for the most part, I think all these rocks kind of end up here from the farming process over the years. They kind of get pushed into the edge of the scrub, the edge of the paddocks, and then, yeah, they end up in these rock piles. And then as scrub takes over, when something becomes a conservation park, you end up with just these random rock piles in the middle of the bushes. So, yeah. Anyway, it's kind of cool to see for someone who's curious. We better try and make some ground here so I can get in and out before it gets dark. I made it down to the little bend in the bush. More of these Mallee fowl tracks here, if that is what they are. All along the fence line here, lots of them. Obviously, still plenty of holes under the fence and stuff. I wonder if that's actually an old Mallee fowl nest there. That could be interesting. I'd love to see a Mallee fowl. I'm yet to see one. And I don't really expect to see one anyway, to be honest. They're quite reclusive. Not super common. I think that's just a sand drift there. I think that's a Mallee fowl nest. I've come across plenty of like old nest sites, just wandering around in the bush here and further north in the Murray lands and stuff, over the other side of the Murray. Yet to see an actual bird. One day. A few dark clouds around. I don't really think it's going to rain, but it's definitely cooling off. Breeze is picking up a little bit. It's nice, keeping some of the flies away. I've seen some rosellas so far. I think this is a Mallee ringneck over here though. A pair of them, yes it is. Making their way out there. Oh, I lost them. First ones I've seen of those guys. I've seen plenty of crimson rosellas out here. and seen a few galahs too, but that's my first pair of Mallee ringnecks I've seen. They're the guys I mentioned in the last video that, well, if you've seen my channel logo on my hat, the feathers, it's a half tail set from one of those guys. They're a cool bird. I don't see them in the hills. They're probably there, but don't see them. Only once I get out here in the Murray-Lands, I start seeing them. I'd love to get him on video for you, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to get close enough. I can see him with my eyes from where I'm standing here, but I don't think the camera will zoom in, not clearly, to where he is. Oh, he's moved again. Sounds like there's a whole group in there actually. I'm pretty sure I have got a shot of these guys before in one of my Langer Reserve videos, if anybody's curious. I mean, there's a few of those too, so good luck finding it. But yeah, he's up there. I can see him. They're crimson rosellas flying in the background. Even if I can zoom in, he's going to be silhouetted. Guy there. It's a green body or turquoise body. Got a dark head with the yellow collar around the back of the neck. It's a Mallee ringneck or Australian ringneck. There is a oh, there was 3 of them there. There you go. Yeah, there is like a species and subspecies, I think. I can't actually remember the scientific name. I feel like it's Barnardius Zonaris or something like that. Here we go, whole group of them up there. Again, silhouetted against the light sky, but cool birds. I like seeing them when I come out here to the Mallee, because as I say, don't get them in the hills where I live, so yeah. This is not going to be an orchid video, guys, just if you haven't worked that out by now. I have not seen an orchid yet, but probably more akin to one of my rambling in the Mallee. Noisy little buggers. Probably more akin to one of my rambling in the Mallee videos. So we'll go down that route with it, I think. More of just walking around and seeing what we see sort of thing. Still haven't even got around this corner yet, so this might end up being a bit of a long video. Just come around the corner. Not much has changed. I've just come across this guy. Pretty sure this is a it's in 2 bits there. I'm holding it together, but I'm pretty sure this is a fox skull. Pretty sure this is I don't even know the scientific name, Vulpus vulpus or something like that, I think. Seen better days, obviously. Now, it is a introduced feral animal in these parts. Not great for our local natives, so it's probably the best fox you want to see is a dead fox, but still just cruising along. Yeah, nice evening for it. Getting towards the far end of the conservation park now. Kind of just cut in from the fence line a little bit just to cut the corner. The edge of the park is really wide, just open grassy area next to the fence, which isn't super interesting. Having said that, I have not seen a whole lot in here through this section either. A few skeletons here and there. That is kangaroos, I think. A few skeletons here and there. Not much else though. Still haven't seen any orchids, and as I say, not really expecting to. Honestly, I'm moving far too fast to be having a good look for them. Kind of enjoyed this so far though. Definitely will come back down here again during orchid season proper, because this is I actually preferred this area than I do the normal conservation park walk, and definitely got the opportunities for flipping rocks and stuff in those rock piles, which always interests me. And I think it could be worth doing a night video or two out here as well. I think that'd be cool. Just work our way through this last little bit of bush here, which should be out in the open. So yeah, I mean, this sort of stuff here, this would just be full of like the Caladinia stellata and all the green combs and stuff, I reckon, come late winter, early spring. And as I say, it's my first time out here, so I'd be keen to see it in more optimal conditions. Alright, we've got this last little bit of bushland here to duck around. Then that takes us to the far end of the park, and then I will turn around and head back. I'm not sure that I really feel like pushing through the bush on the fence line on the other side of the park down there, so I think I'll probably just come back along here and probably won't film too much of it unless I see anything interesting. Might stop at some of the rock piles if I get time. It's what, pushing on towards 4 o'clock now. So a couple of hours of light still. Don't have any real issues walking in the dark. It is pretty just after a full moon, so there'll be some light. But I didn't bring a headlamp or anything on the walk with me, one in the car, which doesn't really help me when I'm out here. Have just spooked a red fox out of here. Oh, he's off. I'm not going to get him on camera. He went off into the bush down there. Looked in pretty good nick too, which is surprising for out here. Guess native bushland, there's probably a lot of food for it to eat, unfortunately. Probably not ideal for any resident Mallee fowl in the area if there's a fox getting around. Much more like Ferris McDonald down this end with the broom brush. It's just that sort of terrain really. Still haven't seen any of the Eriocylus orchids. Again, haven't been looking that hard. I've kind of just been moving. I suspect there would be some through here though. It's the right sort of terrain for them. In any case, carrying on. So we've reached the far end of the park, and this is one of those interesting occasions where I guess this actually used to be a road down here. On Google Maps, this strip of land is marked as Humbug Road, and it runs away like up that way. And we've got a sign here for an entrance to the park. But yeah, it's literally just a strip of land, no road, no parking. As far as I can tell, not even any walking access to get in here. There is a gate, but it's kind of just a gate to nowhere and unused. Yeah, one of those interesting ones where I guess once upon a time it was an access point, and now that dirt road no longer exists. There's a park down south on the Fleurieu Peninsula like that as well. I can't remember what the park's called. I think it's Bullock Hill or something like that. Down in the Finnis River sort of catchment anyway. Just off Signal Flat Road, and that's got a couple of roads along its boundary like that, where you go so far, and as you're walking around the park or the boundary tracks anyway, you come across the old entrance. But yeah, I think I'm going to turn around here maybe. This does run down to the southern boundary. Looks like an interesting trail, so I might have a look down there, and then I'll pop back out and head back towards the car, I think. Yeah. A few foxes getting around here. I've just spooked another one. He's come out of that brush pile there, gone up the old road, and he's ducked across the path in front of me up here. So he's probably hightailed it into the bush, I would say. Not good. Not good for the native wildlife. Kangaroos up here. He's all the way down there, rattling through the fence. There's definitely more wildlife down through this section than I've seen the rest of the park so far, I reckon. Can see where the road used to be in here, and I guess it's just over time through lack of use, because it doesn't really go to anywhere from anywhere apart from the park here. The road just degrades and starts getting overgrown, turns into a bit of a full drive track, and then gets gated off. It's usually the way things go here in SA. There's a few little strips like this out here in the Mallee. There's a few out around Manham too, where you can tell it was an old road, and it's at the point where it's turned into a bit of a little goat track that you can still squeeze through if you don't mind a few pinstripes on your car, or you could run like a motorbike or a quad or something through there. But probably not long until they get gated off as well. Alrighty, well here we are. We're on the, well, I guess, what would you call it? Southwest boundary corner of Monarto Conservation Park. Looking out into open paddocks. There's no more trails from here, apart from to go back the way we came. So don't really, I mean, I could probably hop the fence for a bit and walk along the fence line. I don't really feel like doing that though, so I think we'll just go back the way we came. I love this sort of landscape. If I wasn't so lazy, I'd hike a swag out here and just camp the night, but a little bit lazy for that. Walking out here is one thing, hiking out here is another, and I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to camp here anyway. So anyway, head back towards the car now. I won't say hooroo just yet, because I'm I might rummage some rock piles on the way back. Be interesting to see. So I'll either check back in at those or I'll check back in at the car. And yeah. So I didn't notice this on the way in, but kind of cool, kind of morbid. Old mate Mr. Stumpy, seen better days. It's all skin and bones. There's actually a couple of them here. So I'm wondering if this is like potentially a the roost for some sort of predator. I don't know, but I reckon there's at least 3 here, maybe two. I can see a bottom jaw and head there, and then we got another head and bottom jaw there, the remains there. So I don't know, seems weird that there'd be 2. I know that they pair up, but yeah, seems kind of weird that they'd both die in the same spot. But yeah, kind of interesting, kind of morbid at the same time. These flies are really something else at the moment. Madness. Nice if the breeze kicked up a bit again, but it's kind of died off at the moment. It's still cool, but the breeze has dropped off a bit. Always feels longer on the walk back out. Kangaroo up here watching me approach. I don't know if the camera's going to zoom in so well. Over there. He's off. Zoom lens is playing up, so unfortunately I can't go past 10 times, but we're getting there. Just at the kink now. Gee, they're vivid colours. It's the Mallee ringnecks out there. Maybe a slightly better shot than earlier. Bright turquoise coloration. You got some rosellas on the fence up here, but I doubt I'll be able to get close enough to them. Rosellas down there. Looks like a couple of Mallee ringnecks a bit further down as well. Lots of them down there. Still walking back, guys. I've just come around the corner here. I've just noticed this set of tracks that I didn't see earlier. I think this is a stumpy tail lizard track. So, look, I'm no tracker. I don't profess to be. But, got these guys. So he's going this way. But you can see the little feet. And then he kind of drags it forward and plops it down. And it runs off this way. Off towards the bush over there. But yeah, pretty sure that's a stumpy tail track. Kind of cool. Didn't say that earlier. Time's getting on kind of quick now. Spent a little bit too much time stuffing around taking photos of birds. And sun's starting to get low now. Still got a bit to go. I should get back to the car before dark, I think. Just a really nice evening for a walk now. Don't think I'm going to get any more time to like rummage any rock piles or anything, but just enjoying the evening. Alrighty guys, well, we've just beat the sun back to the gate. Not quite what I had in plan for this walk. Was going to be orchids, but it turned out to be a bit of a bits and bobs sort of episode. That's fine. Might be a bit of a long one. I feel like it's probably going to end up being 40 minutes or so. Have to wait and see by the time I add all my clips together. But yeah, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Wandering around Monarto Conservation Park. Leave a comment if you had anything particularly you wanted to say. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Hurry.